Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Susie Jane Designs. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I took some Target Dollar Spot or Bullseye's Playground items and made them suit my decor. Right now, or recently, I guess you would say. Um, the Target Dollar Spot, I'm going to continue calling it that because Bullseye's Playground just doesn't sound like something I want to be saying all the time. Anyway, the Target Dollar Spot has a lot of back to school, like teacher related items, and a lot of this stuff is super cool, guys. Like if I were a teacher, for real, I'd be tearing this place up. So if you are a teacher, go check it out, man. I don't know what you're waiting for. Anyway, or if you're a mom that homeschools, do it. That was a lot of words. Anyway, so I took a couple of items from the Target Dollar Spot. I actually have several more, so we'll see if I make videos of those too. But I am remaking them to fit our home decor. These are super simple ways to take those Target Dollar Spot items and step them up a notch. At least I think so, and I hope you guys agree too. If you are new to my channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. And I think that's all I wanted to say about it, so let's just jump into the project.
Okay, first thing we're going to start with is this Perpetual calendar from the Target Dollar Spot. Cute the way that it is, but does not match my decor in any way. And with my kids starting school, it's a good idea to have one of these on hand. So first I'm going to separate out all of the pieces. Then I'm going to give everything one coat in my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. And of course I ran out of my big bottle, so thank the Lord I had this little bottle of the same color on hand. And of course I repeated the same process for all of the months as well as the numbers that came with the sign. Now I'm going to be honest, the reason why I painted these black first is because I was almost out of my elephant chalk paint, which we will be using in a minute, but I didn't have enough to get full coverage on these, so I wanted that base layer of the black color to make sure that it covered up all of these fun bright colors. So once that was dry, I'm going back over these in my Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant, which is just that gray color. And again, I didn't have enough to do full coverage, so I'm not worried about completely covering the black parts. I'm just getting it to look mostly gray. Now you can see here that some of those numbers are actually showing through, like they were a little bit raised, but when we get to the next step of this process, you'll see that you cannot see them at all anymore. And once we're done with this step, we're going to let these completely dry. Okay, so now my favorite part. We're using the acrylic paint in the metallic sterling color, and of course, a little piece of sponge that I had on hand. And I'm just taking my sponge and getting a little bit of that silver color on there and then pouncing it on the top of these. You got it, we're making them look like galvanized metal. And as I said before, this technique is actually covering up those numbers so that they're not showing through anymore. This only takes one layer of that silver paint, and then we will let this completely dry as well. Now I'm taking my black Sharpie paint pen and I'm just putting the words and the numbers back onto the cards. What I did for the months is I started with the middle letter and put that in the middle first, and then filled in the rest of the letters to try and make sure that I was getting them centered properly. And once I put this all together, when it was dry, I realized that it was definitely missing something. So I'm taking my white chalk pen and I am doing a border around the outside of that bigger piece. And then I'm also going to trace out the numbers and the months because those weren't showing up very well either. And once that was dry, I went back over them with that Sharpie black paint pen to make sure that the white was just an outline on the black numbers and letters. And that is all there is to this first project. For the next project, we're going to be using this teacher's rule sign that I got from the Target dollar spot for $3. And yes, I am crafting in my pajamas now. I'm going to be using these wood letters from the Dollar Tree and spelling out the word family. Then I'm going to give those letters a coat of the elephant chalk paint as well. So while those are drying, we're going to go ahead and move on to the sign. I am using these wood beads that I got from Michael's. I have a huge pack of them, and I'm going to put one bead in each one of these little holes here, and I'm just hot gluing them in. And then once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and coat the whole thing in my Waverly chalk paint in the color white. This did take 3 coats for me to completely cover up that yellow. So while the sign is drying, I realized that I didn't get the edges of the letters really well, so I went back and I painted all of those edges to make sure none of that wood color would show through. I know this seems crazy, but it's going to work out in the end. I'm taking these bead necklaces. You can get a pack of, I believe it's 5 from the dollar store, and I'm just laying out 2 of the necklaces and I'm giving them a coat of elephant chalk paint, this gray color. I'm not completely covering them. I just want to get a little bit of a good painting surface. Now while those are drying, we're doing my favorite thing, using the metallic sterling acrylic paint and the sponge to make the word family look like galvanized metal. And again, it's just the same process as with the first project. The biggest thing here is going to be that you're making sure not to completely cover that dark gray color. You still want some of that to show through. So now that the beads and the sign are completely dry, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue 1 string of beads around the top of the sign on the front, I guess you would say. And then I'm going to glue the other set of beads around the bottom of it. And where the beads meet up, I just clip off the excess and make sure that they touch good there. And you can definitely skip this step with the beads, but I just felt like the sign was really missing something, so I personally wanted to add them. So what I did once they were hot glued on is I took my Waverly chalk paint in the color white and did my best to cover them. Some of that gray does still show through, but the biggest thing is that I didn't want that burgundy color showing through. So once that was completely dry, now I'm taking my antique wax from Waverly on a paper towel and I'm just rubbing it over those beads and on the edges of the sign and a little bit in the middle, just kind of giving it that distressed look. And then I just repeated the same steps on the top of the sign, making sure to get those bigger wood beads as well. Next, I'm taking these 2 wood sticks that come in a pack from Dollar Tree and I'm adding E6000 and hot glue to them and gluing them onto the bottom. And while those are drying, I can now glue on my family letters to the front of the sign, and I'm just using hot glue for this. Once that was done, I decided to take my sponge and that metallic silver paint and just kind of brush over the beads with that silver color because I felt like it really needed something to tie in those galvanized letters. So here's the tricky part, and unfortunately my hands weren't entirely in view this whole time, but I took a small clothespin and some wire that I had on hand. I put the clothespin on to the wire into about the middle of where I wanted it to be, and then I wrapped the wire around a pencil, clipped it off, and then stuck it down inside the bead. Hopefully that made sense. Once I was done making all of them, I just put a little bit of hot glue down into the bead, stuck my wire down inside, and added a little more hot glue on top of that just to hold that wire in place really well. And now I can use this to display family pictures or Christmas cards. Okay, so for our last project, I'm using this word spinner from the Target dollar spot. It was also $3. First thing I'm going to do is start by coating it in the white Waverly chalk paint. And I did take 2 coats to cover that red color up completely. I will say the hardest part about this was getting in between each one of those wheels, because when you spin it, the red would still show through. Next, I'm taking my pencil and I'm just drawing out the words that I decided to use. I decided to go with farm, hope, love, web, which is our last name, and then I did boo, pumpkins on 2 separate spinners, and the word snow. Once I was done penciling all of these out, I did actually cover them in the paint pen from Walmart. Once my letters were dry, I did go in with my antique wax from Waverly, and I'm going around each one of the letters and distressing it, rubbing away any excess with a paper towel. Once I was done with all of the letters, then I went around the outside edges of the spinners and distressed those edges as well. And then once I was done with that, I did paint the little knobs on each side in the antique wax to make them hopefully look like wood. And now this simple project is complete.
You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August, and I've come out here to say that I love you.
That's it for today's video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give it a big thumbs up. That really does help me out on this channel. And I really don't have much else to say. So until next time, I'll be seeing you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Susie Jane Designs. Why did I stumble over that? It's the name of my channel. Shouldn't be difficult. Let's start this over. Back up! Back up! Okay, I'm ready.